Hello everyone, I'm going to go over the market recap, or the daily plan rather, that I gave out this morning, as well as the live market commentary I provided through StockTwits. So let's get into it. I came back into the office this morning after almost a week gone, and I finally was able to look at the TPO charts. Before I was just monitoring through mobile, so I had candlestick charts, but it was nice to finally see the TPO. So, looking above, we see there's definitely structure left over. We're looking to see if maybe we're building a balance area, which we're not. Yeah, mainly the structure and the value. So, coming into today, of course, we had Jerome Powell, who spoke at 10:15. So just mention that. So here we are, creating a daily plan. Step 1, checking out the TPO. Where is the current auction? What's below? What's above? All things you should know coming into regular trading hours. So I believe I went over most of it through here. In the room, we'll talk about different things to look out for the TPO and with the distributions and whatnot. But for the most part, we're just seeing that we're trading out of balance. We spoke about this balance area on the YouTube for a while. And when we broke out of it, this is around when the day I left, I believe it was here. I left this morning, I believe. But we broke out of this balance, is the point. And once we broke out of the balance, we started falling heavy. Creating a daily plan, step 2, zooming out to our daily frame. Where do you see buyers are located, sellers, who is winning, who's underwater, all crucial things you need to know. Alright, so we could see tons of volume trying to buy the dip over here underwater. We have lots of concentrated volume here as well. Here, that is at this point somewhat underwater. We're trading over here. And we have a large bid as well. We have to look at with exhaustion. Why is this exhaustion? If you could see all the volume that's done here, fades out, buying in balance. This isn't really complete exhaustion because of how many, or the amount of transactions we have done down here, but for sure signs of temporary exhaustion. Signs to look out for when we're coming back up would be here. Sellers we know are active here, and if they can't put a bid, we're likely to fill some volume gaps. And then straight to it. Very simple daily plan today. News event, remember our rules. We don't want, or you really shouldn't trade any news event unless you're really good on the tape. And the number one rule to trading, or at least I believe, is all about risk reward. It's certainly riskier playing during a news event, so it's better to stay safe and not. So sell zones, one cautious buy zone. I did think, or I was cognizant that we could very well have a buy day, how we did. But as for areas I was looking to long, this was really the only one. I also was waiting to see if we would run overnight low and then create confluence between our tools that could give us an entry to go for the long. But that, of course, I can't give that level out in the daily plan because that would be created in live time. That's, of course, if this one were to fail and we'd run the low. But sell zones, 3 of them, one being cautious. This is where I took my 2 trades today, but we'll go through the trades that I took and why I took them. Alright, watch your daily chart, folks. A few things we could take from looking at this footprint chart. So I believe this was either going into the open or right at open. When did I post it? 9:32, so right after open. What are some things we could take? Well, we have a B looking distribution, bid, offer, concentration, obviously volume here. Bulls are going to want to defend this low volume area. Sellers are going to want to move this selling imbalance down on the tape. take note of the 4-hour distribution should be able to see market participants line in the sand. We'll cover some in the recap. So this is around the same time. Yep, just 3 minutes later. And this is now looking at the 4-hour. And what do we see? Looks pretty P-shaped to me. We've discussed it multiple times here on the YouTube. Where are lines in the sand? So we see that we have lots of buyers right here. Huge volume node, the biggest volume node with a huge buying imbalance. And then we see this large volume node of sellers. So above that, we'll start triggering stops. Below this, we'll start triggering stops. And it's very important to monitor the tape here, as well as your delta when you're pulling into these lower volume nodes to see if you're seeing stops or you're seeing them being buyers in this case supporting. And that's what happened. We actually pulled down, we built out these volume nodes, they defended, and we went back up to where then we would have to test sellers and see if they will defend and add to their position. Pay attention to traders' positions in this open 30. A lot you could take, we'll cover some in recap. So obviously we're looking at 30-minute chart. What do we see? High volume areas. And actually look at the numbers since it's the open candle. We're doing lots of volume compared to the overnight session. And where are we trading? We're trading up here, meaning all these people are underwater. You have to be cognizant of that, especially if you're looking for a short. Remember, you're not shorting every selling imbalance and buying every buying imbalance. If you were, you'd be selling here with these sellers and you would be ran over. Why? Because you have to look at the context. Look at all these people underwater providing a move up with their covering and their buying. So the sheer number of these people outweighs these tenfold. So the odds are not in your favor. Remember, you want to see that market makers are on your side. How do you see that? Well, the volume is on your side. Alright, can you see the stop run on the tape? Do you see where market participants are located? All things we could see in real time using our tools. Alright. So this is kind of cut off. You could see it in the slightest bit, but we have a selling balance that's carrying on and people trying to move lower. We see active bid once we pull down to the slower cloud. We had exhaustion with the bid. Bid's moving up. Good, good, check. Defending this high volume area. Continuing to move up, right? I hope we all could see that. So as we're coming into these selling areas, sellers are trying. But what's going to happen? Well, we've spoke about it tons. Low volume on the tape like this. If you see how small these numbers are compared to here in these high volume areas. This is a stop run. This is all these sellers. Someone, something is just marketing, whether you want to say market maker or institution, doesn't matter. Marketing in, running these stops, and then once these stops start triggering, these traders are going to start tripping over themselves, forcing price higher, all trying to cover at the best possible price or a short squeeze. So how can we take advantage of this? You see the majority of the people getting out here, tip up, zero print, exhaustion. If you're really quick on the tape, you can play these moves. But again, I use this in confluence of all the tools that I use to then develop my edge. I don't trade off of one single thing telling me I should. Look at that P-shaped distribution. Pay attention to the top nodes. Lots we could take from this. We'll cover some. Alright, let's look. So we're looking at a daily. We do see some exhaustion here. Not the most clear exhaustion, so temporary exhaustion, but we do see the beginnings of a P-shape on the daily. Not the cleanest yet, but for sure you could see it. So we'll want to see these top nodes be cleaned and this selling position to build out, if we're looking for the short, of course. If we're looking for the long, we would look for, well, sellers to try. They'll be doing exactly what I just said, but every time we come down to these lower volume nodes of the high volume area, we're going to want to see buyers build these out heavy every single time it comes. We want to see them add on the delta. On lower time frames, we want to monitor where's a bid, where's an offer, for confidence of a continuation up. All right. Again, I'm just trying to be funny, trying to be a day trader. Trades off candlestick patterns, RSI, moving averages, and then complaining when it does not work. I've said this before, but the only reason you see candlestick patterns is because market makers want you to. You have to look at the footprint, look at the transacted volume. Can't hide transacted volume, especially in futures. So definitely the best approach in my biased opinion. Keep an eye on these sellers. No surprise, they're trying here. Told you before open they would. Now wait for our signs. So this is of course a 4-hour. And we could see a huge volume node. But well, we do have lower volume here, but we do have high volume nodes down here. But even look at these numbers to the candle to the left. We have lots of volume down here. And I believe I did end up taking a trade here, but I mismanaged that, so we'll get into that in a few. All right, said pay attention to the sellers at the highs and wait. For what? A stop run. We always want to enter where retail is being stopped, excuse me. We get a beautiful exhaustion at the highs of our sell zone and a zero print. So, a few signs here on the tape. Yes, we do see temporary exhaustion, but look, these sellers just got blown out of the water. We want to see sellers. We do not see sellers, but we do see volume building here, which is good. That's what we want. And what does that mean? Well, we finally see it here. Sellers are trying to build a position right here, right below and right at the beginning of our sell zone. So what are we waiting for? Thin volume nodes, how we spoke about already, aka stop run. Then you have the majority of them stopping here. Pop over, zero print as we pull down. These volume nodes get thicker. See the double selling balance, and I'm entering with a limit here. Or I did, rather. We pulled down, I paid myself at 10 points. Now, I mismanaged this trade. I took 50% off at the 10 points and then moved my stop to break even. Now, it's usually what I normally do, but I kind of got lost in wanting a bigger move, but not paying attention so much to the context. Exactly what I just said. We have so much volume down here that I have to monitor this tape when we pull back in. Are sellers moving down on the tape, or are they not? And I did not do that. I kind of thought I was smooth sailing. So yeah, I should have taken at least 75% off there, or taken off the whole trade if sellers were not doing what they should, if you're looking for a short, of course. Stop the rest of position, full transparency. I mismanaged this trade. I took off at 10 points when I should have taken at least 75%. I'll cover in video recap later. All right. Well, someone was asking what this is. Obviously, these are footprint charts. And if you're new to this, I have this chart on the this video rather on the YouTube that will introduce you guys to what you're looking at. All right. We can see where buyers and sellers are positioning themselves up here. Now let's watch to see who is more aggressive and moving up or down on the tape. Pay attention to what we have below and above. Also the nodes. We'll cover some in recap. What do we see here? We see temporary exhaustion on the daily. We see this high volume area building out, thin volume area in between, and then a huge volume area here. So if we're looking for a short, if we're quick on the tape on this extension and catch the zero print, there is scalp opportunities there. But of course, if you're looking for the short, you want the bigger move. You're going to want to see a bigger sell position built here that's going to make this position look smaller. So you want to play on the side of this volume and then look for your entry for the short. What do we see below of us on the footprint? We could see ugly structure, obviously. What do we have above? Well, we went over in the daily plan the structure that we had above as well. Alright, so we had this is where I entered, came back, and then was stopped out the rest. And this is how now price was developing. This is a 5-minute chart. And as we spoke about before, the original line of sellers over here, the ones who got stopped out, now we have a position here. Now we're going to come to this old position, and if buyers can't hold it here, we're going to go down. You see this thin tape? We're going to go to the next area of high volume. And using our tools on the footprint and our reading of it, we'll be able to tell if buyers are doing what they have to support here. If not, again, we'll go down. If they do, well, we know there's active sellers here. I pointed out that how they're trying to move down on the tape we see. Obviously, originally here, moving down, moving down. So they're going to want to defend here. And we'll see this ping pong until we see that there's a clear, more aggressive side. Alright, see that buying imbalance? Look how big the node is. Set in a previous post, buyers need to defend there. Now look, now pressure is on sellers to keep moving down and defend their position. So I'll pull up this picture. Oh, I do not have it. So this is what it looks like on the 4-hour. We're just looking at on 5-minute. This is that active bid, and you can see how big this volume node is. They are defending, and now we're going to revisit this selling imbalance up here and see if they could add to their position. Something to take from the top node, something we spoke about already here, is that there are a lot of transactions being done at the highs. We're not seeing signs of exhaustion, at least yet. We're looking back at the daily here, and you could see those volume nodes are building out more, but they still have much more work to do. You can see towards the lower end of the day, there's still so much volume underwater. So those sellers were then popped. You could see why there was so much volume done here, and they were not able to add enough to suppress all this covering / buying. So with this extension, this provided another trade, which I took there. And I believe I shared a smaller time frame, maybe not. This trade I walked through in the room, showing where I was looking for a possible add. Yeah, possible add, and then after my entry. Sorry. Trying to think, is there anything else? Oh, someone was asking, let's go back here. When we're talking about, once we know sellers are active at one place and we know buyers are active, say at the bottom of a sell zone, which we will often see. Because if they build enough, they buy enough here, and we pull below, they'll be the fuel for the short. So, someone asked in the room, you ever place stop limit orders under important zones? So they're asking, if we see that this buying imbalance is growing here, buyers are supporting, the short is off, we're going to at least revisit sellers' positions. Do you ever go long with them? And the answer is, well, yes, sometimes, but again, it's all about risk reward. These trades, going long where you're looking to sell is definitely riskier than selling where you're looking to sell. So I definitely try not to take these trades, although they can and often do work. It's just more risk, and it's all about minimizing your risk. See those sellers I was talking about? Yep, we went over this already. Now we're trading up here. Everyone who was trying to sell here is now underwater. They did not do their job. Yep, and you just see better. We pulled back. Buyers defended their positions, double buying imbalance on the daily here, and that's why we bounced back up. So yeah, that's the live market commentary as well as the daily plan. And I will see everyone tomorrow.